Good afternoon and welcome to Let's Grow Shopping, another garden update. We're in February already. Struth, where did that go? It's already a month. This is the time of year that this place is really going crazy. Like pumpkins everywhere, taking over all the paths, cherry tomatoes. I can sense a good week of hard labour coming, basically clearing it all up and trying to see if we've actually got any pumpkins on the end of those vines. This update has seen me do 171 seedling pots I planted, and most of them are in the wicking beds, some obviously in the Galaxy garden, and then some on the front verge. We've been harvesting all sorts of stuff: grapes, corn, cucumber, tomatoes, carrots, leeks, beetroot. We've just eaten the last of the potatoes we harvested a couple of months ago, and we literally roasted the last pumpkin from last year. And then this morning I just stewed a kilo of rhubarb, so we've got a rhubarb crumble on the way, which is always something to look forward to. Hope you enjoy the update. Another little early evening haul. One egg, finally. Not had an egg for 2 weeks probably. Some kale for dinner, which is massive. Basil for dinner. Leeks for dinner tomorrow night. The second bucket full of grapes we've had. And all the quince off the tree that Lou, I'm hoping, is going to process into something great. Even with the cucumber vines looking as tatty as this, I've just harvested all these. It's crazy. Knocking around in one of my favourite places, the compost bay. I'm in the process of emptying this one and sieving it so that we can use the product on the wicking beds. And so I've been going through this process of renovating each wicking bed over time, and I've got 3 left. I'm hoping to give them all a good dose of compost today. And in the past, I just want to show you the 3 sieves. This is like the 3 bears. This is Papa sieve, Baby bear sieve, and Just Right sieve, Mama bear. I used to do it with Papa sieve, and it produced this kind of product, which the detritus stays on top of the garden bed, takes ages to break down. It's a haven for disease and pests, especially when it's covered with foliage and it stays damp. Everything can hide under there, like slugs and snails and stuff. And I'm trying to minimize that. And so I went straight to this. And this is the sieve I was using to make the compost for my seed raising mix a fortnight ago, and it produces glorious, beautiful sieved compost, but attached to sieved. I found that I was running out of compost to do 3 garden beds possibly, and I really want to do put some of it in the Galaxy garden. And so whilst this was doing an amazing job, it was a lot of work sieving it through those tiny holes. So I should say the Papa Bear sieve is, I think it's about 20 mil holes, possibly 25. This one is like maybe 5 to 10, maybe 8 or something like that. And this one in the middle is, I think that's 11 or 12 mil holes. And so yeah, Baby Bear was sieving too much of the good stuff out. And it's taken ages to get it through, so physically demanding to get it through the sieve. But then Mama Bear has come to the rescue as usual, and it leaves behind this kind of stuff. This is what I don't want in the wicking beds, if I can help it. See that it forms balls and then breaks up, and that's what you want through the sieve ideally. There's still loads of that left. Some of the twigs go vertically through it, but yeah, you can deal with the odd one. It's just you don't want all of them. But it produces this, which is, yeah, great stuff. Got worms in it. When we put it on the surface of the wicking bed, you could actually see all the bugs and everything jumping all over the place. Like, it's full of life. So it's doing awesome things for the crops I'm putting in. I don't know if you remember, but my seed raising method so far has been to use bought potting mix and then sieve it through this sieve and add a bit of worm wheat for life. There's not much life in this potting mix as it is at the moment, but when I add the worm wheat, that's all good. And for the first 5 months that was fantastic, and then we got to mid-December, and I'm going to go through what's in the shade house. And this is what I planted in mid-December. It's not going too bad, like lots of germination, but these plants have not really grown anything in the last month. They all sprouted really well, and then they've sort of stopped, and I've been watering them with wormweed, keeping them damp, and trying to get some kind of a bit more growth so I can get them in the ground. But I'm thinking I'm going to transplant all these now because they're just getting long in the tooth. And these are what I planted at the beginning of January, and these are not so great. Some of the lettuce has done really well again, pretty much the same as last fortnight's lettuce, really, or the fortnight before's lettuce. Still not really come out the blocks, for me to get it in the ground. This pak choi's not looking too bad here. I can plant that out, but the rest of them, they're barely past the first 2 leaves. And then in mid-January I decided to change things a bit. I put in some of that seed raising mix, but I mixed it with probably at least half of sieved compost, so really fine compost, and seed raising mix, and then watered it a little bit with wormweed. There was hardly anything in this tray. Lou and I went away for the weekend, and 2 days later we came back to this, and you can see the difference. Admittedly, these are beans, and they're right in their good growing range, if you like, in terms of temperature. But even the cabbage is looking way healthier. You'll notice there's a hell of a lot more weed seeds in all this because of the compost I added. I've not killed all the weed seeds compared to that, which is the potting mix on its own. And so I'm going to have to painstakingly remove all these weeds. This is that same seed tray from a fortnight ago that I've weeded and got rid of the beans. And the compost I used in this is the same as I was just sieving for the wicking beds. And you can see the growth in the rest of those veggies is just far and above what's going on the fortnight before and the fortnight before that. Just finishing up the corn harvest on one of the beds, which I think is Neptune. I still can't remember the planets. Yeah, so all that I'll chop down now. I'm just going to snip it at the base and leave the roots in the ground so I don't disturb the soil too much. And now we've got purple beans and bush beans, and at this end mainly the kohlrabi I put in absolutely ages ago, that's been sitting there dwarfed by corn for ages, is now starting to take off now that everything's thinning out slightly. And you can still see the corn stalks. I've just chopped them off and left the base in the floor. And that is the Silvermine corn harvest, so the other row. So far I've chopped much of the Silvermine corn stalks down. I'm just leaving them on so that they stay tied up, and so the ones that I've left in place stay tied up as well. The ones at the other end is what the ones I've left in place. There's a few cobs on there that I'm hoping will fatten up. They're thin and rubbishy at the moment, but I've got a couple of weeks. This bed is going to have garlic in it eventually, so I've got a couple of weeks till I need to put my garlic in. And which reminds me, I've just tried to order garlic and there's hardly any left at most suppliers, so if you want garlic you need to get hold of some ASAP or buy it from the organic market. Still looking pretty lush and green at this end of the garden. Basil, silver beet, turmeric, kale, marigolds, and the I've just piled all the watermelon runners all over the pile again, and I was doing a bit of ferreting around in here yesterday. And found that little beauty. I don't want to disturb everything too much, so I haven't bothered checking out if there's any more. And at the other end of the bed, silver beet, looking great. These beans are getting flowers, so we'll get beans shortly. More red silver beet and some pak choi at the end. The eggplant are completely infested with these little bugs, which I think you can see right at the end of my thumb there, and so I'm having to go around and squidge them all. That is resulting in these patchy, awful looking leaves, of which I've removed hundreds. Otherwise we're going to get no eggplant. We have got a few eggplant growing though, so hopefully with getting rid of that pest we'll get a few more. Lots of tomatoes up high on the vine, but they are all fruit fly ridden, and we are getting very frustrated. This is prime time for fruit fly right now, and they're just popping at everything. And so on the floor I've transplanted a row of leek on this side. I think it's broccoli at this end and cauliflower at the other end, or vice versa, and a row of beetroot on the other side of it. And so yeah, I'm thinking about just getting rid of these tomato vines and composting all that to save ourselves the heartache of picking fruit fly ridden fruit. Zucchinis have been very ropey indeed, but we have had a few, but I don't think we've had any this last fortnight. The bed is still, or the plants are still just sort of struggling along, and the pumpkins are starting to take over the trellis. This whole bed is getting rather out of hand. Cucumbers in Mercury look awful, but still doing the goods with cucumbers. And I planted a whole row of lettuce down the outside. Broccoli still doesn't have any actual broccoli, but if we wanted to eat broccoli leaves, we're sorted. It's really going off. See, in the other end of the bed we've got the watermelon, which is just going off the end of that wall there. I've not been and really checked if there is any melons in this end of the bed, but hopefully we'll get something. The wicking beds are looking great. I've had to be a bit ruthless this month with making room to fit all those seedlings in. I bet 150 of those seedlings are in here, or in all the wicking beds. So, and they're all tiny. Like I said, that seedling tray, or those seedling trays from the last two sessions weren't that fantastic, so not many of them are even that visible. The beans are looking fantastic in this bed, but the carrots from last fortnight that I planted here, I've taken the wood off, and if you can see under the shade there, the ones that stayed in the shade of the beans have been alright. But the ones in the sun, where this plank is, just died as soon as I took the plank off the day after. So I've planted another row of carrots, waiting for them to sprout again. And I'm going to learn my lesson and try and get some shade over this when I take the plank off, to give it a bit of a chance. Here's another bed I've renovated with some compost, more bush beans, and I planted broccoli and cabbage in the middle of everything. See what happens there. I've just harvested this basil and it's still looking great, like you could take heaps more off it. Kohlrabi starting to form the little bulbs at the bottom. More bush beans, and the spinach still going. Now I chopped that spinach right back last fortnight as well, and the new leaves look amazing. Planted some leeks in the middle there. This end bed is looking like I want the rest of them to look like again, so it's just cycles. As everything grows up, it starts getting really productive looking. So the broccoli, basil in the foreground, silver beet, some kale, and then this is the final bed I renovated of the 3, and it's just full of seedlings again. And we'll hopefully see what the compost can do. These leeks are looking alright, hopefully they'll be ready in a week or so. And then finally in the shade house, that's the tray from last fortnight that I've emptied with the beans and weeded it. That's looking pretty good. And then this month's tray, which hopefully goes the same as that, and we can get all this stuff out in the garden ASAP. And that's about it for this week. It's been an absolute challenge to make this video because the weather is roasting and my camera is heating up left, right and centre. So I've had to cart an umbrella around for quite a bit of it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the update, and we will see you again next fortnight.